Welcome back to the Nerdrotic channel. My name is Gary Beekler. I am live in San Francisco, California, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com. And down in San Diego is my good friend and co-host, Dennis Bathalkas. How are you, Dennis?
I'm doing good. You know why I'm doing good? Because we got a new venture, brothers. We got episode 5.
Episode 5. What is that?
The Inamorata Consequence.
Inamorata Consequence. It's, the Venture Brothers is a show about family, Dennis. It's a show about family.
It is.
Very happy that it dropped at 2 o'clock this afternoon Pacific time. We tried to give you all enough heads up about it. It's kind of weird what they're doing. You can watch this stuff for free in Adult Swim, but then they lock them up later on, I guess, when they show up on Hulu or whatever. So try to catch it when you can. If you haven't, and by the way, might as well start with the whole spoiler thing right now.
Get going. Yeah. I mean, definitely. This is going to be like a major fucking spoiler one. So if you haven't watched the episode, go and watch it, because this is going to span all the seasons, because it does, again, believe it or not. Yeah.
So Dennis just pointed out something that kind of blew my mind right now, because I did not catch it at all. But
yeah, it hit me during the episode. I actually rewatched it again, and I did some research, and I'll tell you what it is in a minute. So we're gonna just recap this like very briefly as to what happened. Basically, the Venture team, Dr. Venture, Dean, Hank, and Brock end up going back to the old Venture compound, because they are getting together with the Guild of Calamitous Intent and OSI, and they are going through another treaty, which they're doing
the Tolerance Treaty,
second summit of the Treaty of Tolerance.
The Treaty of Tolerance.
Yeah, so the first treaty was actually done by Venture Senior, who had written this up between OSI and the Guild, and that's what they were governing. That's where all this stuff has come from. It comes from Jonas Venture Senior. So
I like that beginning where it made it look like Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah,
they had the gas masks on and the dead cows.
Yeah, and I love Colonel Hunter Gathers when he says, "Don't you bounce that bovine at me, boy chick."
Boy chick, yeah.
Watch where you bounce that bovine, boy chick. So yeah, we have from OSI, we have Colonel Hunter Gathers, we have Corporal Snoopy, Shore Leave, and of course Brock.
Shore Leave.
Yeah, Shore Leave was awesome. And on the Guild side, of course, we have Red Mantle and Dragoon, Phantom Limb, Dr. Mrs. the Monarch, and there we go. We've got a lot of people there already.
Yes, we do.
And we also have a lot of OSI agents and a lot of Guild agents as well roaming around, including who we saw at the end of last season on the roof there, which was Agent Kimberly McManus and S464.
Kimberly McManus.
I know they really love their man women is what they really do in this.
It's beautiful. They do.
Yeah.
It doesn't get old. It really doesn't.
Yeah, we're gonna get to everybody in the chat once we unpack this stuff real quick, and then we'll get to you guys in a minute. So we also got Dermot. Dermot finally came back. Everyone's been asking us in the comments on all our videos, when the hell is Dermot coming back? Because a lot of people have been saying that all the ventures come in threes. It's usually 2 brothers and an illegitimate half brother.
Yes,
and that's where we've had that with Jonas, or excuse me, with Rusty, and now we have that with Hank, Dean, and Dermot. So there we go.
Yes, and is it brothers or brothers and something else? We'll find
brothers and something else. We don't really know for sure, because we go back to the whole clone issue. So what's going on is the Guild and the OSI are sitting there in the old Venture compound, which is bombed out, and Dr. Venture is the moderator, and he's written up a treaty, and he's going through the spiel, and Dean leaves because he's going to go and wander the compound because he's heard the speech before. Hank gets pulled aside by an OSI agent and gets taken away, and Dean ends up going back to the Potter house, which was seen in a very Venture Halloween, where he found out he was a clone. That's where Ben lives, is out in the clone house there, or out in the Potter house, excuse me. And Ben's not there, but a helper robot that can talk is out there, a red helper robot.
Very familiar voice.
Yes, a very familiar voice. And who was that voice, Gary?
That is Rise Darby, if you are a Flight of the Condors fan, or if
Fly the
you saw
Concords.
Concords, did I say Condors?
Yeah.
Concords, yes, Concords. And he was in the X Files, and he's funny as hell.
Yeah. So he ends up giving a whole backstory on what the helper robots, how they came about. And they were actually their helper that we know from the Ventures is the very first model. He's the prototype. That's why he doesn't speak. But all the other helpers that came after him were dumbed down versions, but could speak. It was very weird. And they were mass produced to help people at home until there was something about them eating babies.
Yes.
That was
I love how he put it. He's all, and then they turned on our helper slaves. And while he's telling that story, you see a picture of like a helper with a big mouth open about to eat a baby's head.
yeah. And they burn all the helpers, and any mention of them have been omitted from all the history books, basically. So that's why we don't know about the helpers that have been there before.
The Great Recall. It was
the Great Recall, yeah. And he survived. And at one point, Helper 2 says, "Oh, you're just like me," is what he says to Dean. And he goes, "Oh, wait, you're not supposed to know. You don't know, do you?"
Yeah.
And Dean's like, "No, I know I'm a clone." And he goes, "Oh, really? You found that out?" So, okay, so what's going on here is Helper 2 a clone that has been stuck in a robot's body, because we know that he's got part of a brain put into him. So that was another question that came up. And then he also knows the clone stuff, of course, because Ben was the one who was the cloner of all this. He actually worked with Jonas Venture to work on this, and then ended up working with Rusty to clone the boys themselves. And Ben has flown away by the way, to New Zealand to go and ash some hippies, I believe is what he said.
Yes, and he can't go to, and the Helper 2 can't go to New Zealand because he's an abomination.
Yeah,
because he's part man and part robot. He's got man parts and robot parts, and he's not in any book. He's afraid of religious fundamentalists because he's not in any book.
Any book that they might read. Yeah.
Yes.
I love the choice of words they used with it. It was really very specific and very well done.
No, some of that almost felt like ad-libbed from, because it sounds like Rise humor a lot, like Rise humor when he's talking about the sweatpants. Well, I can warm some sweatpants for you to just above, your human texture. It's a treat.
Some people.
And Dean's all, wait, what? Okay, I'll take the sweatpants.
Yeah, I'll take the sweatpants. All right, that sounds good. I did love, when they're arguing between the guild and OSI, because we're going back and forth about this. And at one point, Shirley says, "You're shoving your hand up my ass and telling me you're Jim Henson."
Right, and that was after what Hunter gathers as he's all, "You're puking in my hair, and you're telling me it's shampoo.
Yeah. You're kicking me in the balls and telling me my underwear is too tight." And it's just really damn funny. In the meantime, Agent Kimberly McManus and S464 are having their little rendezvous, and we find out that the OSI agent that dragged away Hank is actually Dermot. Dermot has joined the OSI, and he got in on a good word from a relative, as long as he didn't acknowledge that him and the relative are related. And Hank goes, "You mean your dad?" And he goes, "What do you mean?" And he gets really defensive about that. Again, there's our half brother, which is Dermot, who is supposed to be Rusty's son. Yeah.
Yes.
So Kimberly McManus. Oh, thank you, Dakota, for the $5. Just got here, and if you haven't talked about it, I watched all of Jack Ryan in one sitting, and I liked it. No, we're not talking about Jack Ryan tonight, unfortunately.
Yeah, Dakota, we'll talk about it on the next podcast.
Yeah. So McManus gets really pissed off that S464 has pee-pee on his belt. And he's like, "Let me explain." And of course, Dermot and Hank are laughing about this. And and as Hank says, he goes, "What if you were trying to slide into third and the base was all hosed down?" I can see where she's coming from.
I love when they're when they're watching him make out, they're talking about, "Oh, he's going to second base. Well, that's an OSI bra right there. He's just going to have to feel his way around and move along and call it second base." And then And then they're going to the crotch area, and he's all, well, is that? And Dean's all, is that second base or third base? Is that lady second base? No, anything in the crotch area is third base. Well, what's lady second base? I never really thought about that, and that's a good question. I thought that was a really good question, ladies. What's lady second base?
Yeah.
Yes.
That is kind of an interesting question there. And we go back to the OSI and guild debate, and now they start talking about mad scientists and how mad scientists, are the guild's problem because they're mad.
The guild's problem, and they're mad. They're not angry. They're crazy.
And then they start talking about good guys versus bad guys, and Brock is like, let's just break this down. Let's get rid of all this PC crap, and we're just breaking down to good guys versus bad guys. And we even have a fight between Phantom Limb and Shore Leave with flippers and inner tubes because it's supposed to be a pool fight.
Your father had very singular tastes.
Because Shore Leave had disparaged Phantom Limb's grandfather, and of course Red Mantle remembers his father, and he goes, "Yes, I remember your father, and how can I put this delicately? He had very particular tastes." Viking Bitch says, I never called them bases, not a sports person.
Not a sports person. Okay. Mary Ashmead says up the bra. Pen Farm Girl says only with two women. Yeah. So what is it? Well, I guess ladies just probably don't use that term.
Yeah.
Probably not. But everything's a home run with a lady, right?
Yeah. So
just be grateful you get anything and walk away happy.
Dean is trying to get Helper 2 to come back with him and come out of the forest and join the world. And of course, he can't do it because he's worried about, the fundamentalists lighting him on fire.
Yeah,
he comes back. And as Dean is telling him goodbye, because of course he's got everything out there in the woods that he needs. He's got Netflix, of course, and can watch Skins.
Yes, an old show about British kids falling in love and doing drugs
and having sex. Yeah,
it's spectacular. Oh, I might have overplayed that a little bit, but.
And we find out that Helper 2 thought that Dean was actually Rusty Venture.
Yes.
Which means that Rusty is a clone.
Right. That was a bomb dropped. And when all this stuff is happening, and there's probably, listen, I've watched this show like most people every couple of years when it gets out. It's not like we remember everything, but it's such a duh when you see, and like we've always thought, you and I have always thought that the Monarch and like the most obvious thing that the Monarch and Dr. Venture look a lot alike
and sounded alike
and sound a lot alike. And so it's always been in the back of the head, but that's where we're getting at. It's a show about family. Family, terrible fathers, but more bad fathers in Hollywood. Yeah. I'm going to have to put Venture Brothers on my list a little bit.
And so Doc Venture finally snaps during the guild and OSI arguments because they're acting like children. He goes, I understand what it is now. Dad treated you like children. He saw you as children. That's what it was. It was a pool party. It was basically a pool fight is what it was.
Yes, except there wasn't a pool. It was better back then.
Yeah. And he goes, you're just basically here to be coddled. And he goes, so what are you going to do? He goes, are you going to sign what I gave you? He goes, what I tell my kids is there's no fairness. There's only a certain amount of fairness. And he goes, it's tooth fairy fairness, as he calls it.
Yes, the fairness is the freaking tooth fairy. And that's what it is. Totally agree.
And he goes, so you're only going to, you're not going to get fairness unless you compromise. And he goes, and what I've written on here is compromised as far as it's going to go. He goes, so you're going to sign it and accept it, or are you going to go home to your friends and go, well, I didn't get what I wanted, and he actually really goes into it. I was actually impressed.
No, that was like one of the most impressive Dr. Venture speeches ever.
Yeah.
He was in control and totally confident. And not trying for just moments actually being a person. I'm sure he will go back to being the selfish asshole that he is.
I wonder if he ran out of pills at this point. That might be
maybe he did.
And he just kind of, he couldn't take it anymore. And so we have they end up signing the treaty, and everyone thinks, it was he's a great person to moderate this thing. He's a great moderator, and who would have known, who would have known this? And
even Snoopy was impressed.
Yeah, Snoopy was impressed as well. And of course, what do Dermot and Hank do? They don't get involved with what's going on between Agent McManus and S464. They end up doing what they do best, and they go and tattle.
Yeah, let's do it like we did in the old days. Tattle.
I love Dermot's response. He goes, "Sniper shot to the head, dude. No, what the hell's wrong with you?"
I love Hank's little fantasy too about attacking him with the dragon and the disco fro.
Yeah. And so Dean ends up coming back, and he's missed the whole speech, and he's talking to his dad, and he realizes, he goes, "Dad," he goes, "you had a really shitty father. He goes, your dad was really bad too." And he goes, "I love you, Dad." And he hugs him. It's like, yeah, that's really kind of cool.
Yeah, we even got a little grin out of him until he noticed he was wearing. Why are you wearing sweatpants?
Yeah, and he's like, and that's when we cut to the credits.
Yeah,
and after the credits, Doctor Mrs. the Monarch finds out that PP was on the belt of 464, and they're in the helicopter and saying, well, what's wrong with that? I mean, it happens sometimes. Sometimes you don't get to shake it all off, is what the Red Mantle is talking about, or excuse me, not Red Mantle, but actually Phantom Limb is talking about that. And she goes, "No, PP, those are the initials for the Peril Partnership."
Yep.
Now, the Peril Partnership, for those of you who don't remember, there's three different. So you have the Guild, you have the Peril Partnership, and you have the Fraternity of Torment. The Fraternity of Torment and the Peril Partnership are very, very small compared to the Guild. And that means that they have a mole. And I pointed out to Gary that S464 looks a lot like Venture Stein.
And I can't show a picture of tonight's show, but I can show you a picture of. Oh gosh, dang it! I just had it there. Venture Stein coming right up.
Venture Stein, by the way, if for those of you who remember, was an old monarch. He was Texas, is what his name was before he joined the Monarch's army, and he got killed on his first day out. So we saw everything from his point of view. Brock, he tried running away from Brock, and Brock grabbed him, broke his neck.
This is one of the.
It's a really horrible episode.
It's terrible and wonderful at the same time.
And so Dr. Venture decides, I'm going to take him and bring him back to life and use him for a slave workforce of zombies. He brings him back to life, and he can't talk. All he can do is scream for the most part and grunt. And the Dr. Manhauser, General Manhauser, decides to buy him, and he wants to use him for military coups, essentially, like turn him into an assassin. And so they kind of up his faculties a little bit more, so he can speak kind of, sort of, like Venture good.
Yeah.
Really kind of bad. And he ends up taking over a country. Leading a revolt to a country, and also he brings in all his other deformed brothers and sisters, if you will, to help him out as well.
Man-hours.
General Man-hours. There we go. Yeah. And so he's actually been co-opted now and brought into the Guild, but he has been changed. He's had the top part of his head removed again and put a plastic dome on there. That's why he kept talking about the plastic dome. It was a lead-in. I've got a plastic dome on my hand on my head with wires leading out of it. He kept saying that to people, not only just as trying to find McManus, but also as to clue us in that he's actually Venture Stein.
Venture Stein.
Yeah.
This has been a great season so far.
Yeah,
it really has. Let's get to the chat. We got some time to talk to you guys before we start our other show. It's a double feature night here on the Nerdrotic channel. Lucky you, and us. Yeah, let's get Hench for life. By the way, yes.
Yeah, Hench for life. That's right. Hench life. That's it. Viking Bitch says, "I'm not sure how Doc Hammer and Jackson Public do it, but this season of Venture Brothers the best yet. Always late, but worth the wait. Where have I heard that before?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Would you like a stick of gum to make your mouth feel minty without giving any nutrients?
Yeah, there's so many good lines in tonight's episode. And I also like when he's turning back, when Helper 2 is turning back in the forest, he goes, "Screw that noise." Oh man, that was just hilarious.
Mary said this episode was so funny. I love how they split. Listen, here's my phone ring, by the way. It's from Venture Brothers.
Nice. Hopefully, we don't get a copyright strike just for that.
Oh, wait, yeah, might. You never know. We'll find out.
Yeah. Mecha Random 42 is answering back to Mary Ashmead. Ooh, God. I've been answering a ton of comments on that all day. I need to make sure I don't miss any when I get to him. Okay, so that was something else.
That was probably talking about her video. We'll talk about that in the next podcast a little bit. We'll talk about her stream because she got Mecca got triggered by a picture that kind of triggered me too.
Yeah.
So
Viking bitch, yes, she actually don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. Roll on my head and tell me it's shampoo.
That was so funny.
It was awesome. Yeah. Don't give me shit and tell me it's candy. That's what Mary Ashmead says.
Yeah, Renee. The on Adult Swim, you can't watch it outside the U.S. That sucks. It's only for the
unfortunately,
US.
It is a U.S. only premiere. Sorry about that. They actually said that when they were doing that. Mary Ashmead says this episode was so funny. I love how they split half on one side and half on the other. Yeah, the tables between the guild and OSI with the tattered Venture logo in the middle.
I love every time they were announcing something, the guy, brought out the trumpet or whatever. I should have practiced that.
I love the when they were announcing each guild member and also the OSI and what their accomplishments were.
Collector of old pipes and a general awesome guy.
And I love Shore Leave. He goes, the body of Arnold and the face of Denzel.
Yep.
Yeah, this is some really good stuff. Viking bitches, I love the red helper. Would you like some comfy sweatpants? Oh man. Pen Farm Girl says, am I the only one who really, really, really wants to take Helper and Helper 2 home and treat them right? Yes. Someone actually made a GIF, by the way, of Helper in the lobby from last week's episode.
Oh, they did with the with the gun.
With the gun. Yeah, dude. I was starting to laugh. I saw that it popped up. I was trying to grab it, and I couldn't download it, unfortunately, because it's one of the funniest scenes. It only takes a couple seconds, but it's awesome. And yes, again, for those of you who are playing at home, Rusty is also a clone. Send in the clones.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Dean, not Dean. Yeah, Dean knows it. So, and that's why he hugged Dad. He's like, I found out a little more about you today.
Yeah,
Dad.
he goes,
Not that way. Yeah,
he goes,
I love you, Dad.
I can relate to you now a little bit more.
I could relate to you a little bit more, which was kind of cool. And I can't wait till Dr. Venture finds out. He's going to fall apart. It's going to be great.
And I'm wondering, and like I said, I'm wondering if Helper 2, his brain, because we know he has part of a human brain in there, if it's actually one of the Rusties.
Yeah, you don't know. And does Brock know? Is this kind of thing we're going to find out that Dr. Venture died a bunch of times? And yeah, it'll be funny. It'll be hilarious. Yeah. Hilarity will ensue.
Yeah. Tamarok says, what is 8th base?
What is 8th? Well, 8th base is when you take your finger. No, I'm just kidding.
That's a more complicated move.
Podcast.
Yeah, that we don't have enough time for that one.
Yes.
Renee Moncoy I'm sorry, man. I'm gonna actually murder your name. Renee Monkeo says, when you give them control of your money, that's what 8th base is. Nice answer. I love that one. That's it.
That is great. I love it.
That was a perfect answer, man. Thank you.
Oh, I've been 8th base.
We all have. Melody Hill says, happy Dragon Con weekend, everyone. Yes, to those of you at Dragon Con that are watching us, happy Dragon Con. And yeah, there we go. And Pen Farm Girl agrees. That was a pretty great speech that Dr. Venture gave out. That's probably one of the best speeches I've heard in a while, especially from an animated series. Man, that was awesome. That was
Oh
just
yeah, this is way beyond an animated series though. These guys, I'm sure they've been offered many other things to do because they're some of the best writers in TV.
yeah,
Period. And you know, I'm not joking when I say they should take over Marvel. They should. There's some
yeah.
properties these guys should take over. They probably just don't want to, but yeah, I would put them in charge of Marvel. I'd fire everybody, put them in charge of Marvel the comic book division, and watch it shine.
Mm-hmm.
It would shine.
Carrie Dalton says, "Is this the best Doc Venture has ever been?" Yes.
So we're getting set up big time. He's about to just get destroyed.
Yeah.
Um,
Something bad is going to happen, and so we're at the halfway mark, right? Because it's only 10 episodes, correct? I believe.
I
It's
thought it
only
was
10
8.
episodes. Is it 8? I think it's 10.
8. Yeah, well, we're halfway or over halfway. We'll find out.
Yeah. And Viking Bitch says, I think this is the best version of Doc Venture. And that is not saying a lot. And Penn Farm Girl even says, is someone controlling Doc Venture? I don't think someone's controlling him. I think he just finally got pissed. And like I said, I think he's run out of drugs too. I really do think he's run out of drugs.
And maybe he didn't notice because he was busy. He was working on the speech for a long time.
Yeah, he's been working on this because he looks. I mean, I've gotten that look before too, where you have people bickering over some really petty shit, and you know, at one point he's got his, you know, his glasses off and he's just doing this, grabbing the bridge of his nose, and yeah, I've been there. Yeah.
Right.
Viking Bitch says at least Dermot has a purpose now.
Yes, and that's good. I think that's good, and I love that he was back. I've always loved him, but we're gonna be getting some nastiness. I can't wait.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
yeah,
We're being set up so hard for this one, so it's gonna be fun. We should probably wrap it up right there, folks. Put a little bow on it. A great episode of Venture Brothers. Now on the Monday Nooner, Venture Brother fans, I'm going to be reading some of your comments. That's going to be one of the segments I'm going to be doing. So yeah, we got a ton of comments on one of the videos that I want to go through.
You know, Monday is Labor Day, right?
I do know Monday is Labor Day. I'm
I'm
aware of it.
Join you.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We got my schedule got completely effed at work. I'm still like really pissed about it, but never mind. We'll move on. So we will so our next podcast is coming up in about 10 minutes. We're going to be doing the Friday Night Tights. If you're watching this as a video, then go check it out. And then you could check us out every Friday night, 8:00. Susan Layton will be returning. She will be back. And please go to nerdrotic.com. Our live schedule is on the right-hand side on the front page. I just updated it. We're moving Jack. We're going to review Jack Ryan during the Friday Night Tights. We're actually going to do a separate podcast for that Saturday night. And Mrs. Nerdrotic will be joining us. So there you go.
Wow. Okay.
She loves it. I haven't seen it yet. Didn't have time. Dennis says Twitter's at the Force. Mine is at Nerdrotics. Thank you to our wonderful patrons. You'll be able to see your patron video the next podcast. And thank you, Dakota Stanton, for the super chat. I truly appreciate that. I want to make sure we didn't miss any more. Yes, that was Dakota Stanton for $5. Glad you watched Jack Ryan. Sorry, I just didn't have time today. Yeah. So Dennis, any parting words?
I want to say it's Monseo is Renee's name. Renee awesome. Monseo. There we go.
Thank you, Renee. Appreciate that. Yes, and please tell us pronunciations. Because shit. California public school educated here. So
yes, hooked on phonics worked for me.
Yes, it worked for me too. Dennis, take us out.
Children of Earth, don't let the door hit your ass in the way. Otherwise, you might find out that you're a clone, and your son might find out before you.
And then give you a hug. May the small folks sing songs for your greatness. See you in a bit.
See you in a little bit.